In this lesson, we're going to talk about the file system task. We'll talk about how it can make changes to files and directories. It can be used to move files and directories and delete files and directories. Here in Visual Studio, or Business Intelligence Development Studio, or BIDS for short, we'll see in our toolbox a file system task. We'll drag that out and double click on it to open the editor. We have several options we can choose from in the File System Task Editor. First is our destinations, the general information, what operation we'd like to perform, and the source. Here are the operations that you can perform with a file system task. There are several operations that you can choose from in the file system task. The first is copy directory. If we select copy directory, we get the source and the destination. The source is of course the directory we're going to copy, and the destination would be where we're going to copy it to. If we select copy file, again we get a source and a destination. If we select create directory, we only get a source and not a destination, because we're simply going to create a directory at the source. We do have another property, use directory if exist, and this can be true or false. If we select delete directory, it will delete the directory in the source location, and again there's no destination. Delete directory content, again we only have a source, and it will simply delete the contents of the directory in the source. If we select delete file, again we only have a source, it will simply delete that file. If we select move directory, it will move the source to the destination. In this case, the source and the destination must be a directory and not an individual file. If we select move file, we get a source and a destination, and both the source and the destination must be a file. When you select the rename file operation, you get a source and a destination, and this will allow you to rename the file. So in this case, the source name and the destination name can be different. Also, the destination can be in a different folder location also. So effectively, you can actually rename a file and move it with this operation. If you select set attributes, you get a source, and you get the attributes that you can change of the file. So we can set hidden to true or false, read only to true or false, archive to true or false, or system to true or false to change those attributes of the file. When setting up a source, you'll see we have a property called isSourcePath variable. We have the same thing for destination, isDestinationPath variable. If you set this to true, then the property of the destination becomes destination variable instead of destination connection. We can click on the drop-down menu, click New Variable, and use the Add Variable screen to add a variable. If there is already a string variable on the package, then clicking on the drop-down menu for Destination Variable will show the list of string variables on the package. Here we can see we have a string variable on the package that I could use as my destination variable. The same is true for source. If we select true, I get all the system variables, and then here at the bottom we see the user variable that I created called string file name. In the Try It section of this lesson, we're going to use the file system task to back up a file and rename a file. I've already created a package, called it Lesson8. Now we're going to navigate to the C drive of this machine. And here in the C drive, we're going to create a file named createdfile.txt. To do that, we right click, go to New, select Text Document, and we'll name it Created File. We're also going to create a backup folder on the C drive. To do that, we right click, go to New, click Folder, and we'll name this Backup. Now we'll close up Windows Explorer and go back to Visual Studio. We're going to create a new file connection. We'll right click, say New File Connection. We're going to connect to an existing file. I'll click Browse, go to my C drive, and select that created file that I just created. Click OK. We're going to create another file connection. We'll right click, go to New File Connection. We'll leave the usage type set to Create File, and this will be C:/backup/ and we'll name this moved file.txt and click OK. We now have two file connections in our connection manager, the created file and the moved file. Now we'll drag over a file system task. I'm going to double click on it to open it. I'm going to change the name of this to Backup Created File. And I'll change the description to something that is descriptive. I'm going to select the rename operation. As a source, I'm going to select the created file. And as the destination, I will select the moved file. I'll set overwrite destination to true. This will overwrite the file if it already exists. We'll click OK. We'll click the green arrow to debug the package. Notice the file system task turns green. We can go back to the C drive on the computer, and we see that we do not have the created file in my C drive anymore. We go to the backup folder. Now we can see that there is a moved file. This is the created file that was in the C drive originally. In this lesson, we showed you how to use the file system task to make changes to files and directories, move files and directories, and delete files and directories.